Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Consciousness, Bhaktivedanta, Swami, Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani, Pacharane, Namaste, Sunyavadi, Bhakti Desata. Om Aganatinandasya, Janandana Salakaya, Chatsu Sabalatam, Jena Tasmai, Sri Raghunath. Sri Caitanya Vanavistam, Stapitam, Jena Lutala, Sayam, Rupa Kalamayam, Gadati Sapandantikam. Vanchakapatridhyascha, Kripasandhantikam, Patitam Vandikam, Mahaprabhu is just arriving in Kashi. He's gone across the Zarakanda forest on his way to
Vrindavan.
Yes, on his way to Vrindavan. You knew that, yes? Everyone's society. He's on his way to Vrindavan, his mind's on Vrindavan, he's focused in Vrindavan. And he arrives in Kashi, and he was very happy to arrive. Finally, Amata in this way, Nana Suke, in great happiness, Prabhu Oila, he arrived in Kashi. Kashi means Benares. How many of you have been to Benares? Yes. 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 It's the oldest continuously inhabited city on this planet, and there's layers and layers and layers of different civilizations that have built and left their mark in Benares. So he, in great happiness, because it is a holy place, he arrived in Kashi. There he took his bath in the bathing ghat known as Manikarnika. So Prabhupada has a purport describing Kashi. Kashi is another name for Benares or Varanasi. It has been a place of pilgrimage since time immemorial, practically forever. The two rivers named Asi and Varuna merge there. Manikarnika is famous. It's a ghat, it's a bathing area. Because according to the opinion of great personalities, a bejeweled earring fell there from the ear of Lord Vishnu. According to some, it fell from the ear of Lord Shiva. The word mani means jewel or pearl, and karnika means from the ear. According to some, Lord Vishnunath is the great physician who cures the disease of material existence by delivering a person through the ear, which receives the vibration of the holy name of Lord Rama. The cure of material existence is by hearing through the ear the vibration of the holy name. So this will come up very soon and very strongly. And because of this holy place is called Manikarnika. It is said that there is no better place where the river Ganges flow, and that the bathing ghat known as Manikarnika is especially sanctified because it is very dear to Lord Vishnu. And that is quotation from the Kashi Khanda. Yes, about one who gives up his body at the Manikarnika ghat is liberated simply by remembering Lord Shiva's name. So Mahaprabhu went and bathed there. He arrived in Kashi and he bathed there. And at that time, the same time as Mahaprabhu arrived, Tapan Misra was also taking his bath in the Ganges, in the Ganga. And he was astonished to see the Lord there. Tapan Misra began to think, he's seeing the Lord bathing, he's seeing Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu bathing there. I have heard, he began to think. Now, I'm going to ask you after I read this verse, tell me something that's intriguing or interesting about what he says. I have heard that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted the renounced order. And thinking this, Tapan Misra became very jubilant within his heart, because there was that sannyasi, now the sannyasi. And what's interesting about that? Well, at least what I found interesting. Anyone find anything interesting?
Normally sannyasis travel around, and he was fortunate to meet the traveling sannyasi.
Yeah, that was certainly very interesting, amazing, by Krishna's arrangement. How long ago did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take sannyas by this time? It was already like 5 years after. And in those days, there was no emails. There was no snail mails, practically speaking. There were messengers that were sent. So he was surprised when he had heard. And when you hear something, you're never quite sure. The people are talking about it, you don't know it's really 100% sure. What?
I'm going to wear your speaker.
Oh, forgot all about it. Okay, now which way is it going? Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
It's so counterintuitive because usually you want to put this over your ear, but this one goes back. No, back. No, that way. Caitanya also had trouble with it. Oh, thank you. So it's hard to imagine a time where there's no internet even. I mean, people used to read newspapers and buy newspapers. When was the last time you bought a newspaper? Really? When was the last time you bought a newspaper? I can't even remember.
15 years back.
15 years back. I'm so old, I remember when there were tape recorders. Big tape recorders like that. That's before the little ones, and then on, and there was, when we first got our computers, the discs were this big. Oh, Hare Krishna. Things move very fast. And when you hear news, did you hear that Mahaprabhu was taking sannyas? He was amazed to actually see Mahaprabhu there. And who was Tapa Misra? Does anyone know who Tapa Misra was? Tapa Misra, yes.
He was the Brahmin who Lord Chaitanya met in East Bengal when he traveled to
Yes.
his fortune.
So how long ago was that? Mahaprabhu was 16 years old when he went to Purva Bangla, to East Bengal. Now, Tapan Misra's story about how he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very interesting, and it's in Chaitanya Bhagavatam. And I wanted to read it to you, but there's many interesting parts about it, and very relevant parts. So Mahaprabhu had gone to Bangladesh, what's now Bangladesh, Port of Bengal, and he was 16 years old, but he was such a great scholar. He gathered so many students and so much wealth as well. And then, after he was there for some time, it was time for him to go home. After taking leave from all the students, and he gave them mercy, he accepted their gifts, and Lord Gauranga happily started for home. Many students came to Navadvip with the Lord to continue studying under him. Meanwhile, Samaya Eka Sukra Brahmana, a pious, swan-like Brahmana, Shalena Prabhu Stane Tatai Pandita, named Tapan Misra, arrived there. So Mahaprabhu was just starting for Navadvip. Now, in Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, he commented on the verses. So not only will we hear the story of Tapan Misra, but I wanted you to also get a flavor of the mood and the writing of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So he says, the phrase Sukriti Brahmana is explained as follows. In this universe, Brahmanism, or knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, is the highest platform and the goal of all pious activities. If a knower of Brahman engages his mind in serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Brahman, Lord Vishnu, then the limit of his fortune is incomparable, because he's called Sukriti, he's pious, he's pious. In the Guruna Purana, it is stated, it is said that out of thousands of Brahmanas, one is qualified to perform sacrifices, and out of many thousands of such qualified Brahmanas, expert in sacrificial offerings, one learned Brahmana may have passed beyond all Vedic knowledge, he is considered the best among all these Brahmanas. And yet, out of thousands of such Brahmanas who have surpassed Vedic knowledge, one person may be a Vishnu Bhakta, and he is most famous. And out of thousands, many thousands of such Vaishnavas, one who is completely fixed in the service of Lord Krishna is most famous. Such a person is called Saragrahi, or swan-like. So the second line of the verse said, Ati Sahagri. This Tapan Mishra was swan-like, not only swan-like, but very swan-like. Nama Mishra Tapan, that was his name. That's the second line of the verse. The opposite of Saragrahi, is Bhavagahi, Bhavavahi, or ass-like, donkey-like. In other words, those who are unable to understand the purport of the Vedas and Vedic literatures, the Vedas and literatures in pursuance of the Vedas, and who are busy with external considerations due to foolishness, are Bhavavahi, ass-like. This is Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Unless you're on this level, if you're on this level, you understand that Vishnu is the object of worship, then you are Saragrahi, you are swan-like. And if you're not, you're like a donkey, an ass. Because you are busy with external considerations due to foolishness. It's so straightforward. You are Bhavavahi, not Saragrahi. Materialists, karmis, gyanis are called Bhavavahi. Everyone else but a devotee is like a donkey. Because donkeys are famous for carrying, at least nowadays, no one uses donkeys. The washermen don't use donkeys anymore. They use what?
Bikes.
Motorcycles, yeah. But before the donkeys, they used to, we saw them even, we were there, they used to carry such huge loads of laundry and just get fed a little bit of grass at night. But working so hard. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is putting everyone but a Vaishnava in the category of a donkey. And only the pure devotees or Vaishnavas are clever and intelligent. They give up the worthless, ass-like mentality and become properly situated in understanding the confidential purport of all scriptures of all Shastra. Like that. So Tapan Mishra, he's in the category of a very, very rare soul, a devotee, already he's a devotee. But still, even though he was a devotee, he was confused about the goal of life. This is the next verse. He was confused about the goal of life and the means to attaining it. He didn't know exactly what the goal was, nor the process of attaining it. Moreover, he could not find anyone to clear his confusion. Here is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The process by which one attains his desired goal is called sadhana. The devotional scriptures refer to this sadhana as abhideya, means the process of attainment. Due to lack of knowledge concerning one's relationship with the Lord, various new concocted ways of attaining perfection are described and practiced by the non-devotees. Austerities, worship, ritualistic ceremonies, vows, Vedic study, practicing kumbhaka, puraka, and rechaka, the pranayama, breathing in, breathing out, and holding. By controlling the breath, offering oblations to one's forefathers, renunciation, asanas, bathing 3 times a day, visiting holy places, meditation and contemplation in order to control the mind, and fruit of deity worship are generally accepted as sadhanas by ass-like persons who are bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. He's very clear, isn't he? These sadhanas are simply other means of deceiving the living entities. Actually, only Vaishnavas are qualified to ascertain or understand or to know the goal of life and the process of attaining it. But if persons who are devoid of devotion to Vishnu try to ascertain the process for achieving the goal, there's a great chance of being misguided. Particularly in comparison, we can see that one who endeavors to ascertain the process of achieving the goal of life with the help of mental speculation will invite mistakes, illusions, and obstacles, and one will not reach the eternal ultimate goal of life. While considering the goal of life, the Salvationists, those who want liberation, mistakenly conclude that achieving freedom from the threefold material miseries is the sadhya, or the goal of life. The materialists consider immediate sense gratification as the goal of life, and the Salvationists ascertain that merging in the impersonal Brahman is the goal of life. The root of their misconception is simply their mistakes and nothing else. The swan-like devotees of the Lord do not follow the conceptions of either the Salvationists or the materialists, but they accept love of God as the goal of life. They know that both heavenly pleasures and merging into the impersonal Brahman are simply a fraud, cheating. Since proud scholars of various communities in Bengal, like the materialists, the karmis, the gyanis, were ignorant about the actual science of sadhya and sadhana, when they were asked about the goal of life and the means for attaining it by the sharply intelligent, pious Brahmin Chapra Misra, who was desirous of serving the Lord and most qualified to accept the essence of the Vedas and their associate literatures, he could not get a proper answer. This is the next text. He silently, Tapan Misra, silently chanted his mantra, his Krishna mantra, and the word Ishtadeva mantra, but later it comes out as Krishna mantra. He chanted his mantra day and night, but still he could not ascertain either the goal or the way to attain it. But since he was not practicing other important limbs of devotional service, he could not achieve peace. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, though he was day and night engaged in chanting the mantras of his worshipable Lord, he did not achieve peace of mind. In devotional scriptures, there are 64 limbs of sadhana described, and amongst these limbs of sadhana, 5 limbs have been described as the best. Among those 5, the topmost limb of sadhana is congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. It is the path demonstrated by Sri Caitanya Chandra. None of the limbs of devotional service can be performed properly until and unless one accepts the support of chanting the holy names. Without sadhana, one can never achieve peace of mind. The purport of this statement is that chanting the holy names, the basis of pleasing Krishna, is the only sadhana, and until one develops love for Krishna, which is the only sadhya, the only goal, achieving perfection in sadhana is difficult and incomplete. Next verse. There are no purports in the next few verses. So he was disturbed, and while disturbed in this way, late one night, the fortunate Brahmana had an auspicious dream. A Devata, a demigod, appeared before the Brahmana Tapas Misra and began to tell him some very confidential, secret topics. He said, listen, Suno Suno, O sober Brahmana, please listen, steady your mind, and do not worry. Go to Nimai Pandit. He will explain to you the goal of life and the means for attaining it. He is not an ordinary human being. He's Narayan himself. He's performing his pastimes as a human being to deliver the people of the world. But don't disclose this fact to anyone, for this information is confidential even in the Vedas. And if you do disclose it to others, you'll be unhappy birth after birth. Next, as the demigod disappeared, the Brahmana woke from his sleep, and after seeing this auspicious dream, he began to cry. Recovering from his trance, he exclaimed, "What good luck!" Then he immediately, he left to see the Lord. See, Sane, that moment, as soon as he awoke, he left to see the Lord. As the enchanting person, Sri Gaurasundar was sitting with his students on the bank of the Padmavati river. Tapan Misra came there, and he fell at his feet. He got up before everyone with his hands folded. And he said, "I'm the most fallen wretch." How is that? He was called already a Saragahi, a swan-like person. He was pious, but he's thinking himself a fallen wretch. Because why? Why is it that the great devotees always think themselves fallen? It's very mysterious, actually. What do you think?
I think because they're comparing themselves to more elevated devotees.
He wasn't even in that spot. He was in Mahaprabhu's presence there. Because yes.
The great quality of humbleness.
Yes, but what is the cause of that great quality of humility? Okay, Murli, and then, yes.
In relation to Krishna, they consider it.
Yeah. When you're in the presence of the great Krishna, the unlimited, beautiful, wonderful Krishna, the exalted consciousness, naturally, seems to be the natural consciousness, even of a great soul, to feel very, very insignificant and tiny and contaminated. And after all, everyone who is in this world is, in fact, a fallen soul. But because everyone in this world, conditioned soul, has a false ego, a big one, everyone, then everyone thinks oneself great, but then one realizes, I'm not great. I'm just a conditioned soul who's going to die, and it's not everyone else's fault, it's all my fault, because I'm here in this world and I have my fate, my karma. Then he naturally, in the presence of the Supreme Lord, feels very, very humble, and it's very attractive to Krishna. Just like the negative pole of a magnet attracts which pole?
Positive?
Yes. So the supreme positive Krishna is attracted when the soul actually, not because we also know how to become expert in making believe language, but Krishna always will test us to see if we're really humble or not. Always will test us. So he said, I'm the most fallen wretch. Please deliver me from this material existence by your merciful glance. I'm ignorant of the goal of life and the means for attaining it. Therefore, kindly explain this to me. So he's a great Brahmana, and he goes in front of the 16-year-old boy and says that to him. And he says, I do not find any pleasure in material sense enjoyment. Therefore, O merciful Lord, please tell me how I can find relief. Because everyone in material existence is feeling the pressures of material existence. They're feeling the pressures of life in the material world. And people walk around or drive around or dress in a way or bluff their way, or make other people think that they have it. They're happy in this world, but in fact, it's really a bluff, because material life means struggle. And if you have your life very well organized and you're wealthy and you have what you need, you know how many people are going to be envious of you? And how can you be happy when you know that as soon as you turn your back, you're going to be getting, someone's going to get you good? One devotee working in the corporate world says, you really have to make sure, because everyone has a boss, and every boss has a boss, and every boss has a boss, every boss has a boss, until there's the supreme boss. Right. So, of course, that's Krishna, but they don't generally know that. But in any case, he said, what you really have to be careful of is being competent. Because if you're competent, and your boss perceives that you're competent, and he's not very competent, he's going to write a report about you, saying how bad you are. So the secret is not to be incompetent, because, but the secret is just make sure you have to please your boss, and not like the Mayavadis to get his position. Like they worship the deity of Krishna, but they're trying to be Krishna. But the secret is to please him, but never show any ambition. Yeah, so it's such a struggle. Have you experienced this? No, I was talking to you. Have you experienced it? No, you have a good boss right now. What was it like to have a bad boss? Remember that time you had a bad boss? Yes. So in any case, he said this. I do not find any pleasure in material sense enjoyment. He could honestly say that. I'm not coming to you to gain something on the material level, because I know, I've concluded, I've experienced that nothing on the material level can make you happy. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, we've heard Srila Prabhupada say that when one understands that no situation in the material world can make you happy, no situation, that person has taken the greatest step forward in material life, spiritual life, taking the greatest step forward. And to this inquiry by this sincere soul who had that dream, who is sincerely looking for the purpose of life and the way to obtain it, Mahaprabhu said, O Brahmana, what can be said about your good fortune? He's thinking himself unfortunate, the Brahmana, and Mahaprabhu says, what can be said about how fortunate you are? Because since you want to worship Krishna, Vipratoma Bhagera Ikata, Krishna Baji Bari Sahab say Savata. Since you wish to worship Krishna, that is quite sufficient. So, what strikes you about that, if anything? Since you wish to worship Krishna, that is quite sufficient. Yes.
That he only has a desire.
Yes, thank you. That's quite wonderful. And if we actually have that, he didn't say because you are a great devotee of Krishna, you are so fortunate. Of course, it's already said a devotee of Krishna is fortunate, but if that is your desire, your honest, sincere desire to worship Krishna, That is sufficient. And he's feeling completely insufficient. But Mahaprabhu is telling him, this is sufficient. Here's the words of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Due to heaps of pious activities accumulated from many lifetimes, one's propensity or tendency for serving Krishna is awakened. This is the living entity's only goal of life in all respects. How to cultivate that desire to worship Krishna, to serve Krishna, to be with Krishna. This is great fortune. And the great devotees, when they perform austerities, or they do what they do, they perform their sadhana, they have that goal. I want to be with Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. They have that goal so strongly burning in their consciousness, in their mind, in their hearts, that any of the difficulties appear insignificant. And when we don't have that deep goal, we wish that there were no difficulties there, and when any difficulty, well, this is my experience, and when a difficulty comes, something happens that I don't like, then it's so disturbing, and it puts the consciousness down, and then when that's removed for a little while, then your consciousness goes up, and then another something else happen, and something happens to your leg, or your knee, or you're this, or you're that, or this person does this, and this person says that, then down, and then a little bit of relief, and then up, and Tapan Mishra is saying, enough. I really want to know what the goal of life is. And he hasn't said it yet, but he'll say at the end, he tells Mahaprabhu about the dream. So this, when one has that propensity burning in one's heart, in one's consciousness, to serve Krishna, when that's awakened and it's natural, and that's what we're missing in life, that is the living entity's only goal. In all respects, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Then he says, because he's a great scholar, he says, the word sarvata means in all respects. Another reading for this word is sarvada, which means that which bestows all desired perfection. In other words, this is sufficient. Sarvada, say, sarvata. Either sarvata or sarvada, which means that this desire that you have will bestow all desired perfection. It's just a matter of time. So Mahaprabhu then says, he's just given him great hope, and then he says, worship of the Supreme Lord, Ishvara Bhajan, is difficult to achieve. The Lord himself personally teaches the principles of religion for this age. There's some strong and wonderful purports here, but I want to read the next one. The Lord personally teaches the religion for this age. He incarnates to establish 4 different religious principles in the 4 different ages, and therefore he returns to his own, and thereafter he returns to his own abode, to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. And the Yuga Dharma for the age of Kali is the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. The 4 religious principles for the 4 ages are all means for the deliverance of the conditioned souls. Whatever result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, the essence of all religious principles in the age of Kali is the sacrifice, the Yuga Dharma, Nama Yagya Sar. Atta Eva Kali Yuga Nama Yagya Sar. The essence of all religious principles in the age of Kali is the sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. Well, what is that? I'll read the verse and a little more, and we should discuss what does it mean that it's a sacrifice. What are we sacrificing? And what does sacrifice mean? It's the sacrifice of chanting the holy names of the Lord, cannot be delivered by following any other religious principles. The Vedas are unable to fully describe the glories of one who chants the Lord's name day and night, while even eating and sleeping. Please listen, dear Misra. There is no other austerity or sacrifice prescribed in this age of Kali, and one who worships Krishna is most fortunate. Therefore, go back to your home. Go back to your home and worship Lord Krishna with full attention, giving up all duplicity. What does duplicity mean?
Say one thing and think differently.
Well, yeah. Or think differently, or acting in one way, and but I'm doing it, but and I don't really want to please Krishna. I don't really want to worship Krishna. So therefore, when we're actually focused on actually pleasing Krishna, that is a very fortunate position. Without duplicity. Single-minded. This is what I want. I want to please Krishna. Means sincerity. When one examines one's own life, one's own consciousness, what happens when I discover that there's quite a bit of insincerity in my actions to please Krishna? In other words, yes, okay, I want to please Krishna, but I also first want this, and I want that, and I want him to make sure that he let me know that he's really going to take care of this and that and this, and make sure I get enough of this and that, and my health is good, and my stocks go up, and my and whatever else. Because those things are placed there, those desires, so that we can be introspective and see within what's in our mind, what's in our consciousness. So what are the possible reactions of a soul who, or conditioned souls who, through a little bit of introspection, notes that he's lacking in complete sincerity? What are the possible reactions? Yeah.
You mentioned last week around becoming humble.
That's the last alternative. Yeah, one can become humble. Oh yeah, whoops. Maybe I've tricked everyone else, but I don't think I'm tricking Krishna. Because I see it, so if I see it, he sort of saw the Bhutalam Savasya, he's in my heart, so he can see it, and he's always known it, and I haven't bluffed anyone actually, especially him. I've mostly bluffed myself. So becoming humble is the best reaction. And what are some of the alternatives to becoming humble? Yes?
Try to ignore it, forget about it, and do something enjoyable.
Yeah. That's one alternative. Another one?
Discouraging.
Another one? These are all really good ones. What's another one?
Well, I'm trying my best what to do.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, like I'm
To
trying
think
my
I'm trying my best.
Yeah,
What to do. So, what to do? That's the question. What to do? and you don't get the result that you were hoping for. You don't get the result, and then what to do? And then we think, do I deserve the result?
I was thinking like this, you have to live with it.
But what is it called when you live? There's different ways to live with it, right? One is you think, get discouraged. Another is you become humble. Another is you distract yourself. And then any others, yeah?
You deny it completely. You get
Deny it.
angry.
And then when you deny it, what do you do with the unhappiness?
You get angry at it.
You get angry at the unhappiness, or you get angry at everyone else? Both simultaneously. Everyone, the whole world should be organized in a better way if I was in charge.
And then you write a book about it.
That's really 40 years old now. You make an app about it. Come on, join the AI.
Like a podcast.
A podcast. Make a podcast. Good idea. Yes. No.
Maybe sometimes you can lose faith in the process
Yeah.
or in the goal itself.
That's what happens when one forgets to examine one's own consciousness. All these things. Introspection is important for these reasons. Yeah.
You get cynical that it's impossible anyway to get right in this world.
Yeah. And then what do you become devoted to? Something or another. Therefore, go back to your home and worship Lord Krishna with full attention, giving up all duplicity. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says, all Tapadmisra serve Krishna while remaining a householder. The prefix ku refers to the prohibited activities, and the syllable na in the word kutinati has the same meaning. The cheating propensity is also known as kutinati. In other words, if one gives up the improper desire to cultivate sadhanas that bestow the four deceitful objects of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha as the goal of life, and takes undeviating shelter of the holy names of Krishna, then he can awaken love for Krishna. Every word has strength of meaning, instructive strength of meaning. This is what he's telling, Mahaprabhu himself is telling Tapan Mitra, and what Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur is telling anyone who is reading or hearing this. Sense enjoyers, fruit of workers, yogis, and mental speculators do not endeavor to attain love for Krishna. They are busy gratifying their own temporary senses. And by such activities, however, they do not actually achieve any eternal benefit. If such insignificant desires are prominent in one's heart, then the taste for chanting the names of Krishna will not awaken. Mahaprabhu continues, by congregationally chanting the holy names, you achieve everything, including the goal of life and the means for attaining it. So even if one doesn't have that desire for the goal of life, you get that desire, because the chanting is also the means to that. Love of Krishna is the sadhya, or the goal, and congregational chanting the names of Krishna is the sadhana. Any questions that may arise in this regard can be resolved only by chanting the names of Krishna. The uselessness of the insignificant desires of the sense enjoyers, fruit of workers, and mental speculators is easily realized by persons who are under the shelter of the holy names for the process of Sankirtan. And then Mahaprabhu quotes to him, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam Kalo Anasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva, Gateni Appa. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. And then, next verse. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. And the translation is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. He says this verse is called the Mahamantra. It contains 16 holy names of the Lord composed of 32 syllables. If you continually chant this Mahamantra, the seed of love of God will sprout in your heart. Then you will understand the goal of life and the process of attaining it. After hearing these instructions, now there are powerful and wonderful commentaries, purports by Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, but I wanted to make sure we read this part. After hearing these instructions from the mouth of the Lord Tapan Misra, the best of the Brahmanas repeatedly offered obeisances to the Lord and said, "Please allow me to live with you." And the Lord replied, "You should immediately go to Benares." And where did Mahaprabhu just see Tapan Misra? In Benares. So Mahaprabhu said this to him when he was about 16, and he took sannyas. Mahaprabhu took sannyas when he was 24, so there's 8 years already. And then Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he traveled in South India for 2 years. Then he came back to Jagannath Puri, so that's 10 years. Then he came back to Jagannath Puri for 3 years. Then he went to Bengal. So how many years are we up to? Huh? And now, so this is 15 years later, Mahaprabhu is coming to Benares. How does that make you feel? If it's for me, tell him I'm busy. Hello. How does that make you feel? How would you react?
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
I would be patient.
Well, you are being patient.
Was
Or maybe you felt.
exactly patient.
Well, this is an interesting combination of patience and impatience that we have to do. We get impatient. Oh, when will I get some mercy, special mercy? But be patiently impatient. And then he says, "I will meet you there and explain to you the truths about the goal of life and the process for attaining it." So that's what's going to happen in Benares. But first Mahaprabhu goes to Vrindavan, which he's doing now, and he's not going to even give it to him then. So you can imagine Tapan Misra, if it was one of us or me, but didn't you, but. And then he leaves and goes to Vrindavan, and then he comes back. And that's when Sanatana Goswami comes. And he's going to, for 2 months, so 2 or 3, I can't remember now. He's going to explain exactly all this to Sanatana Goswami, and he's going to be there and listening. Mm-hmm. And when Mahaprabhu comes the second time, which is described in Madhya Lila chapter 20, when he comes back from Vrindavan, because he's just going to Vrindavan, then he comes back and he sees Mahaprabhu again. And what do you think he says? What do you think he says to Mahaprabhu? He says, could you come to my house for lunch? And then when he's there, he says, "Well, you're here. don't accept any other invitations. Just please allow me to feed you every day. He wants to serve. He doesn't say, you know how long I've been waiting here in Benares, and this place is no talk about Krishna, and I came because you told me to come here. He doesn't, you know how long I've been waiting here? And it's also interesting, something almost similar happened when when Jagadananda, this is described in maybe the 13th chapter of Adya Lila, when Jagadananda goes to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami is living there. And Mahaprabhu had told Jagadananda to tell Sanatana Goswami that I'll be coming soon and get me a nice place to stay. Get a nice place. So Jagadananda got there, and the day he's leaving, he tells Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu said he's coming. Please find him a nice place to stay. And he actually, Madan Mohan and his Bhajan Kutir there, that was actually meant for Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu didn't return to Vrindavan. He didn't come back. Now, how do you think Sanatana Goswami, who had complete devotion, was completely empowered by Mahaprabhu, complete devotion, how do you think he was going to act? Jagadananda left. How do you think he would act?
Obediently.
Okay, he did that. And then?
He was looking forward to
Yeah, maybe he's going to come today. And then the sun goes down. Maybe he'll come today. And then the next day, maybe he'll come today. Maybe he'll come today. Maybe he'll come today. And maybe he'll come today. Maybe I'll get mercy today. This is the way to always chant. And this is what Dhruva Maharaj did actually, Narada Muni did. He got one, the Lord came to him when he was meditating, and then he said, I'm not coming again for the rest of your life. Guess what? But, I want you to. So Narada Muni, the way he reacted was, I'm just going to chant to keep the Lord in my mind, because, and that's what the Lord told him to do. If you folk put me in your mind, this will, with Chayana, will clean all the impurities from your mind and heart. So it's quite a process, this Krishna consciousness. It's meant to increase your desire. The reason the Lord told Narada Muni, the reason why I've appeared to you and then disappeared was to increase your desire to be with me. And it's important to understand how rare that desire is, how fortunate one who has that desire is, and it just needs to, the spark has to burst into flames, and this is the process of bursting into flames, and is the process of increasing one's desire. Tatra loyam abhimula mekalam. Sakrid yad, dasya tam vishay. And I've shown myself to you, Sakrit, just once. Oh, sinless one. He's calling him sinless, and still, he's only showed himself to him once. Because, Sarvan Manshanti Vichtriyan, the more you think about me, oh Sadhu, the more you think about me, the more your heart will be cleansed. Cleansed of what? Of every other desire. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes when I'd go to Delhi, they'd have these little vans, when they're doing the marathons, especially book distribution marathons, and the van would say, read Bhagavad Gita for an anxiety-free life. And I'd be thinking, I wonder which version they're reading. Because our process is to increase the desire, increase the desire, increase the desire. On the material level, it's true. One could actually become free from the petty little anxieties of life by keeping a flame burning, blazing fire of one great anxiety. When will I get Krishna's mercy? When will I qualify? When will I attract His mercy? And all the petty anxieties get burnt up. All the petty disappointments. All right, Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes.
How do you understand the difference between eagerness and impatience?
Well, what do you think?
That's not fair.
That's not fair. That reminds me of a story. Oh no, it's a little bit too... Yes. Well, I would say, I'll answer that. I'll try my best to answer that. Eagerness makes you so fixed. Impatience makes you think of all your alternatives. Any other questions or comments? Introspection is required, unless we have a very simple, pure heart. Introspection is required. What do you think?
Well, about that comment? Or
No, just about. Well, the Tapan is because Mahaprabhu has just come to Benares, so we can hear about him soon.
One comment I had was like when you mentioned it's not necessarily the activity of being devotee, it's more the desire and intention. Because I feel like in my mind there's always complaints or criticism going on, and it's sometimes hard to control.
Sometimes.
Like
You do it quite well.
All the time it's hard to control. But then it's the desire to try and get better and surrendering that these are just thoughts coming on my mind and trying to...
Better at what?
Not having that action of that, those thoughts of complaining. Or trying to, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I've learned is that it's better to, see, because we think only if I knew Sanskrit, or only if I could play harmonium or sing, or this or that, then I would be able to be better at. So that can cause us to take another birth to learn Sanskrit, or to, like you both and others have their musical abilities that come from some previous piety. But every intermediary desire, when fulfilled, will cause another problem, in fact. So instead of desiring to control your mind even, why don't you just get to the point? If you were able to control your mind, what would you do? What would it be like?
It would be less of a battle. Less of a battle.
Okay, and if there was less backtalk, what would you have? What would you do?
Greater efficiency.
Oh, if you had greater efficiency, what would you do?
try to use it more in a genuine service.
Okay, and then if you were using it in genuine service, what would you do? What would you want that to be, if you were more genuine in your service?
To make sure all my actions are aligned to being a sincere character.
Sincere character. How about to be an insincere character? No, you want to be a sincere character. Okay, if you were a sincere character, what would the sincere character do?
Am I down a rabbit hole?
I don't know, we're trying to get you out of the rabbit hole. You can do it,
Then after that, if I have a sincere character, I feel...
What would you do if you had really sincere character? What would that sincere character want?
To basically please Krishna through your actions.
To?
Please Krishna through your
Okay,
actions.
and if you please Krishna, what would you want from that? We're getting there. You can do it. If you want.
Essentially,
If you
mercy.
please Krishna, what would you get?
Essentially mercy.
And if you got mercy, what would happen? What would you get?
That's another rabbit hole.
Anyway, can't get no satisfaction. That's already been done. So if you please Krishna and you get mercy, what would you want that mercy to give you?
It doesn't feel like I want something tangible.
And what tangible thing would you want?
No,
You don't want something.
it's just a sense of progress in the spiritual path.
And if you progress, where would you like to go?
The Goloka Vrindavan.
Instead of trying to control your mind and go through all those steps, why don't you just pray for that? And if you had that, now close your eyes. Now, if you were in Goloka Vrindavan, what would you do there? Close your eyes.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, no, we might get a bit too esoteric, but you wouldn't like want to make glass and stuff like that,
No.
no? Well, you'd want to serve Krishna in some way, right? So if you had that great desire to be with Krishna and serve him, and serve the devotees who are really good at serving Krishna, just how happy would you be?
It would be measurable.
Yeah, just imagine what immeasurable happiness is like. Like your best moments in spiritual life or whatever. Yeah, so you sort of thinking in that ultimate way, when will that'll put life in perspective.
Yeah, I feel went through that kind of rabbit hole, but I feel like that's like natural to go through that.
Say that again.
I feel like, even though it sounds like you went through a rabbit hole, which we did, but I feel you have to go through this process to
But
understand.
see, there's another aspect of a rabbit hole. What's another word for rabbit? A hurry. A hurry is Srimati Radharani. Oh, I just broke it. It's a hurry. And whole means holy. Holy hurry.
That's a good rabbit hole.
So therefore Mahaprabhu just solved the whole thing. Just chant Hare Krishna. That's what he told Tavamishra. It's also the sadhya and the sadhana also. We have to trust that. And Mahaprabhu is giving the shastra. Hare Krishna. Oh, more more questions? Yes,
I have one comment and one question.
yes.
So the
Which one
comment,
do you want to go first?
The comment. I just wanted
Okay.
to say thank you for humbling me because
I didn't humble you.
what you said did, because like I don't really do the introspection, and like I just realized that I'm trying to get into spirituality to be a better person, but maybe not to like actually serve Krishna.
Yeah.
So
If you were a better person, here we go again.
It's worth it, guys, do it.
Later. You get the point. See, yeah, what is a better person? How much better would you like to be? Better than who?
better than my current self.
Yeah, but what would be the best? You. And who are you? After all? I broke it again.
Less entangled in material life.
Okay, so if you are not entangled in material life and out of prison, yeah, once you're out of prison, you have to do something. What would you like to do?
Like clear my mind so I can actually focus
Focus on what?
on like chanting or
So you'd like to focus on chanting.
yeah.
And if you are focused on chanting, what would you like that to be the result of?
Sorry, say that again.
If you are focused on chanting, what would you like the result of that to be?
So I can clear the mind of the impurities. and
Okay, then
tension.
after you've done that, and then when you stop focusing on chanting, what would your mind be like if it was free from impurities? What would be in it? Would it be empty?
No, I want to replace that with like better thoughts and
Okay, what would be a better
Pure
thought? That's not going to entangle you further and be impure.
I can hear Krishna more,
Okay, and it really,
and so how I can serve better.
yeah. And what's the mark of better in service? What's best?
Like selfless service?
Yeah, and what's better than selfless service? What does that mean? Free from unselfishness. So how does one, what would it be like to serve free from unselfishness? And you know, what to speak of, we could ask, have I ever done anything in my life that didn't have any tinge of selfishness? Okay, but you'd like that.
Mm.
And what is that called, to serve free from selfishness? It could be duty, or it could be love.
Yeah.
So if you serve Krishna with love, that's what you'd like to be. But you don't, because you're just beginning in a sense, so you don't even have a hint perhaps of what that would be.
Mm.
Do you have a favorite deity of Krishna?
The one in Bhaktivedanta Manor in UK.
Gokulananda? What does he look like?
It was very pretty.
Okay, close your eyes. Think of Gokulananda. And think of the deities on the altar and the manner and the mood there. And what would you like to say if you were there right now and you could give anything you'd like? And you could give them some fruit, some flowers. Why don't you do that?
Mm. And then,
Huh?
sorry, what did you say? Give them fruit and flowers?
No, if you'd like to.
Yeah,
Would you like to?
yeah.
Or why don't you do it in your mind? And could you offer them a prayer too, in your mind? So why don't you offer them a prayer in your mind? And now, why don't you, in your mind, keep your eyes closed. Why don't you chant really loudly in your mind and dance also in your mind in front of Radha Gokulananda. In your mind, dance and chant. It's only having you there. And you can, okay, other devotees can be there too. We can all chant and dance. And then you can offer your obeisances and offer another prayer. Then you could even slowly open your eyes and come back to our little place at Caitanya in the valley in Perth. I think was there a last question?
And that was her comment that she had a question also, no?
Oh, you kind of answered
There were
it.
two of them.
It was more just, what does it take for you to chant it, then to actually see that your mind is becoming pure?
Is becoming
More pure, like, when did you have that experience
when?
for the first time?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the first time. Hare Krishna. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Kapan Misra ki jai, Caitanya Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai, and I go again. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Did you have fun at Bhaktivedanta better?
Yeah.